In this sequence, we'll be working on sun salutations. This is a very heating practice. There is a fair bit of repetition in this sequence too. Do what you can. If you need to, always slow down and pause, take a few breaths and relax, and continue at the pace that works for you. Do your best. See what you can handle, but always be aware of how your body's feeling in every pose. And we'll be focusing on feel today. I've been talking about breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. And today we'll be practicing on actively feeling how our body's responding to each pose. Even here, as you sit comfortably, take a couple of breaths. Take a nice long, deep inhale and exhale. Continue to breathe. And as you breathe, scan your body. Maybe close your eyes for a moment or soften your gaze. Scan your body and actively feel any sensations in your body, both good or bad. It might be tension, it might be an energy of feeling unsettled, or maybe a really positive energy. Whatever you're feeling, just tap into that sensation. Notice it. And actively feel what's happening in your body. And while feeling what's happening in your body, do so without any judgment. Just be the observer. Notice. Be aware. There's a quote by Pema Chodron. She says, "We have a choice. We can spend our whole life suffering because we can't relax with how things really are. Or we can relax and embrace the open-endedness of the human situation, which is fresh, unfixated, unbiased." Just take a couple more breaths here. Bring your hands to your side. On your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, lower your arms. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. One more time, lift your arms up. And as you exhale, lower your hands. Uncross your legs. Make your way onto your hands and knees. And tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat and walk your feet forward to your hands. Let your knees be slightly bent to start. Have a nice straight spine and allow your upper body to melt towards the mat. Maybe straighten one leg, maybe the other, maybe both. Or keep your knees bent. Just feel what's happening in your body in this forward fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. Breathe here, nice flat back. Even here, bend your knees if you need to keep your spine straight. Shoulders back. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. Release. Inhale, lift your arms up. Knees are slightly soft. Keep your spine straight, so hinge at the hips. As you exhale, fold forward, lead with your chest. Inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale and fold forward, feel your abdominal muscles engage. Feel them engage again as you inhale, come halfway up. Breathe here. Check in with your shoulders. Can you soften your shoulders? Soft belly. Relax your jaw, your hips. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Bring your palms together at your heart. And release. So come onto the front of your mat. Have your feet hip distance apart, feet parallel to each other. On your next inhale, lift your arms up over your head. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward, place both hands on the mat, and step back to plank pose. At any time during this practice, with plank pose, you can have your knees off the mat with a straight line between your shoulders, hips, and heels, or knees on the mat, straight line between your shoulders, hips, and knees. Just make sure your shoulders are soft here. If your upper back is rounded, it can really fatigue your upper back muscles. So just soften your chest so there's a straight line along your shoulders and chest. In whatever version you're in plank pose, bend your elbows, keep them close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the floor. Come onto the tops of your feet, look straight ahead. Hands are just light on the mat. On your next inhale, lift your head, your shoulders, chest up. Send your chest forward, shoulders back. Breathe. You can, if your lower back feels healthy, you can press into the mat slightly, coming up a little higher. Otherwise, to protect your lower back, keep your the first rib cage on the mat. Tops of the feet flat on the mat. Breathe. Slowly lower down. Keeping your hands right under your shoulders, elbows close to your rib cage. Tuck your toes. Press into the mat with your hands. Push up through plank pose. Lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent if you need to. Some people like feet together here. You can do that, or have your feet hip distance apart. Have your wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat, fingers spread wide. Energetically lengthen your spine. Lift your hips up behind you towards the ceiling, as if you can put more weight into your feet. Knees may still be bent, or play with straightening one leg and then the other. Offer the heels towards the mat. But the goal really here is to have a straight spine, shoulders soft away from your ears. Knees can be bent or straight. People aim to get the heels on the mat, but only do so if you can do so without rounding your back. Look past your hands, bend your knees, and walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhaling, lift your arms up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Breathe. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward, both hands on the mat. Step back to plank pose. Knees on or off the mat. That nice straight line between your shoulders, hips, and heels. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage. Slowly lower down to the mat. The slower you go, the more challenging it is. Point your toes, tops of the feet pressed into the mat. Hands are just light on the mat. Lift your chest forward and up, shoulders back. Breathe. As you breathe, scan your body. Feel what's happening. Notice any sensation. Just observe. Be aware. Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. You can either press into the mat with your hands and use your knees to lift up through plank, or for a little more engagement, lift your knees up off your mat first. Press your hands into the mat. Use your abdominal muscles. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage. Use your abs to lift up through plank pose. And then up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Energetically push the mat forward with your hands. Try to keep your wrists light. Press more into the mat with your fingertips and knuckles. Trying to make your wrists light. Nice straight spine. Maybe straighten the legs. Breathe. Feel your body in downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Scan your body. Notice any sensations. Look past your hands. Bend your knees and walk your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. On your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Stay here for a breath. Exhale, soften your shoulders away from your ears. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. In your next inhale, come halfway up. Nice flat back, shoulders back. Arms are straight, they just land on your legs wherever they land. As you exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. You can either step back to plank the way we've been doing, or press your hands into the mat. Bend your knees, look straight ahead. Support your body with your hands, and when you're ready, hop back to plank pose. Just play with it. It may take a couple of times, but just give it a shot. Or just step back to plank pose. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet. Look straight ahead. Send your chest forward and up, elbows close to your rib cage. Breathe. Continue to feel every sensation in your body. Reach your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Open your chest as you reach your knuckles towards the back wall. Look straight ahead. Lift your rib cage up off the mat. Breathe. Release your hands. Place your hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Your choice whether you press your knees and hands into the mat or lift your knees up off the mat first. Come up through plank pose. And then lift up and back to downward facing dog. Think about lengthening your spine. Lift your hips up and back as far away from your hands as you can get. As if you could put your hips right up over your heels, up high. Try to put more weight into your feet. Keep your hands light. Nice straight line between your wrists, shoulders, and hips. Maybe straighten the legs, maybe not. Look past your hands. Either bend your knees and walk your feet forward, or be sure to look past your hands. If you want to bend your knees, place your hands under the mat and lightly hop your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side as you come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. So you may be noticing the heating sensations of sun salutations by now. We'll do a few more before we cool down. So feet hip distance apart. Hands on hips. Bend your knees and sit back into an imaginary chair. And now sit up nice and tall and breathe. Maybe sit more deeply. Aim to have your knees pointing in the same direction as your feet, and make sure if you look down that you can see your toes. If you cannot see your toes, bring your knees back a bit. You can stay here or bring your palms to your heart. Reach your arms forward and draw your shoulders back. Feel. I personally can feel my quads right now. But notice, scan your whole body. How do your shoulders feel? Your hips, your arms, even your toes. On your next exhale, fold forward. Breathe. Let the energy move through your body. As you inhale, come halfway up. Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. Spread your fingers wide. Wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. Wrist directly below the shoulders. Look past your hands, look forward, and either step or hop back to plank pose. Breathe here. Nice flat back. Straight line between your shoulders, hips, and heels. Gauging your abs, your upper back, your legs. Elbows close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet. Look straight ahead. And lift your chest up off the mat, chest forward, shoulders back. just lift your hands up off the mat an inch or so your hands are hovering. And now just softly place them on the mat. Breathe. Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. Press the mat. Press into the mat with your hands. Lift your knees up off the mat. And lift up through plank pose. And back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Just find your breath. Feel what's happening in your body. Notice how it feels now compared to when we started. Bend your right knee. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Adjust your left foot if you need to over to the left so you can balance on both feet. Look straight ahead. When you're ready to inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Bring your left hip forward, right hip back. Just enough that your hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. Maybe deepen the lunge. Ideally, you want your right knee pointing in the same direction as your right foot. And breathe. Maybe straighten the left leg. Lower both hands to either side of the right foot. Step the right foot back to plank pose. And breathe. Even here in plank pose, Palakasana, feel. Notice any sensation. Slowly lower down to the mat. Point your toes. Have the tops of your feet placed right on the mat. Look straight ahead. And gently lift your chest forward and up. Shoulders back. Coming into Bhujangasana. Breathe. Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. Pressing your hands into the mat. Lift up through plank pose. And lift your hips up and back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe. Now bend your left knee. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Adjust your right foot over to the right if you need to. Hands are just light on the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Lower your shoulders. Maybe deepen the lunge. Even here, engage your abdominal muscles. Bring your right hip forward, left hip back. Maybe deepen the lunge. Maybe straighten the back leg. And breathe. As you breathe, breathe into your whole body. Actively feel what's going on without attachment, just observe. Lower both hands to either side of the left foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right. And breathe. Keeping your elbows close to your rib cage. See how slowly you can go to lower down to the mat. Place the tops of your feet on the mat. Look straight ahead. And lift forward and up into Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Can you feel your abdominal muscle, your whole abs pressed into the mat? Can you feel your lower rib cage lightly on the mat? Can you feel your chest open as you send your chest forward, drawing your shoulders back? Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. Hands directly under your shoulders. Push up through plank pose, any version that's right for you. And up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Even your shoulders, although engaged, see if you can soften them. Your abdominal muscles are engaged. Your legs, arms are engaged. Your spine. Breathe here. Look past your hands. Bend your knees. Either walk your feet forward to your hands or press your hands into the mat and lightly hop your feet forward to your hands so they land lightly on the mat. As you inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. On your next inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Reach your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhale, lift your arms up. As you exhale, really think about leading with the chest. Bend your knees if you have to. You're hinging at the hips. You can even place your hands on your hips to bring awareness. As you exhale, lead with your chest and fold forward. Place hands on the mat. And breathe. Maybe your knees never straighten. That's okay. It's more important to keep your spine straight here. But play with straightening one leg and then the other. Maybe both. Or if your back starts to round, lift up a bit. On your next inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward, placing both hands on the mat, fingers spread wide, wrists parallel to the front of the mat, wrists directly below the shoulders. Bend your knees and either step your feet back to plank pose, or press into the mat with your hands, look past your hands, and hop back to plank pose. Your choice. Knees on or off the mat. Breathe. Feel. Elbows, keep them in as you slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet. Look straight ahead and lift your chest up off the mat, shoulders back. Open your chest forward. Breathe. And lower down. Tuck your toes. Press up through plank pose. And come through to downward facing dog. I did mention there's some repetition. I wasn't kidding. Just breathe here. Just observe and feel what's happening in your body. Not good or bad. Just observe and feel. Look past your hands, bend your knees, and either step or gently hop your feet forward to your hands. As you inhale, come halfway up. Breathe here. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Palms together at your heart. And release. Place your hands on your hips, bring your feet hip distance apart. And sit down in an imaginary chair behind you. Send your knees back. And now sit up nice and tall, nice straight spine, shoulders back. Engage your abdominal muscles. Option to bring your palms together at your heart. Maybe sit deeper, maybe not. Or arms out front. If your arms out front, just draw your shoulders back. Toes are soft. One option here is to energetically squeeze the ankles and knees towards each other, firing up the adductors. And now push them away from each other, firing up the abductors. You might feel it in the outside of your legs. And then back to neutral. On your next exhale, fold forward. Breathe here. Can you allow your body to fold a little more deeply without rounding your back? Knees can be straight, bent, or slightly soft. On your next inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. Fingers spread wide. Wrists directly under the shoulders. Bend your knees, look past your hands, and either step or hop your feet back to plank pose. Breathe. Bend your elbows. Slowly lower down to the mat. Come onto the tops of your feet. Hands just light on the mat as you send your chest forward and up. Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes and lift up through plank pose and back to downward facing dog. And breathe here. Now bend your right knee, bring your left foot into the middle. Actually bring your feet together. Left foot stays on the mat, bend your right knee. Lift your right foot up off the mat and slide your right foot up to your right elbow. And then back to downward facing dog. Bend your right knee again. Round your back and touch your nose with your right knee. Back to downward facing dog. And breathe, or just stay in downward facing dog. Now bend your right knee, cross it over, and touch. Come forward and touch your left elbow with your right knee. Back to downward facing dog. And breathe. Now bend your left knee. Lift your left foot up off the mat. Bring your left knee to your left elbow. Back to down dog. Left knee around your back. Bring it to your nose. And back. And finally, left knee. Slide it across to touch your right elbow. And back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Now bend your right knee. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Look straight ahead. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe deepen the lunge. Option to straighten the left leg behind you. Push that left heel back towards the back wall. Lower your arms. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Open your chest forward. As you reach your knuckles towards the back wall, open your shoulders back. On your next exhale, fold forward. Maybe letting your hands come up. Release your hands, place both hands on the mat, and step back to plank pose. Any version that's right for you, knees off or on the mat. Elbows close to the rib cage, lower down to the mat. Look straight ahead. Come onto the tops of your feet and send your chest forward and up. Breathe. Slowly lower down, tuck your toes, and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Now bend your left knee, step your left foot forward between your hands. Looking straight ahead, just adjust your right foot to the right if you need to. Inhaling, lift your arms up over your head. Bring it right hip forward, left hip back. Maybe straightening the right leg. Shoulders away from your ears. Breathe. Engaging your abdominal muscles. Lower your arms. Reach your hands together behind your back. Open your chest forward, shoulders back. Reach your knuckles towards the back wall. Keep bending that left leg. On your next exhale, fold, fold forward. Letting your hands come up if that's right for you. Even here, feel. Just be aware of what's happening in your body. Lower both hands, place them on the mat, and step back to plank pose. Breathe here. Can you keep that straight line between your shoulders, hips, and heels? Lower all the way down to the mat. Point your toes. Lift forward and up. Shoulders, let them lower away from your ears and then bring shoulders back. Slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. Lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Look past your hands and either bend your knees, look past your hands and hop your feet forward, or walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. We'll do a couple of half sun salutations now. We'll do another 1 or 2 more full sun salutations before we cool down. I don't want to say how many because it will change depending on what I say. Inhale, lift your arms up over your head. Knees are soft. Exhale, lead with the chest. Hinge at the hips and fold forward. Inhaling, come halfway up. Breathe. Feel what's happening in your body. Exhale, fold. Inhale your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold forward. Inhaling halfway up. Nice flat back. Knees can be bent if you need to. Exhale, fold. Even here, as you breathe, maybe close your eyes for a breath, if that's right for you, or soften your gaze. And just actively feel every sensation you notice in your body. On your next inhale, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. Release. So we'll do 1 or 2 more sun salutations. Inhaling, lift your arms up. As you exhale, fold forward. Maybe we'll do a nice long, slow one. As you inhale, come halfway up. Breathe here. Shoulders back, nice straight spine. Feel. You feel any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your back, your hips? Can you relax your spine, your hips, your legs? As you exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat. Spread your fingers wide. Wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to either step or hop back to plank, but look past your hands. Look forward with your eyes. Knees are bent, and hop back to plank pose. Knees on or off the mat. Support your body. Support what it needs. See what you can do. Feel what's happening in plank pose. Can you relax your jaw? Engaging your upper back, your abs. Keep your elbows close to your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet on the mat. Press the tops of feet into the mat. Look straight ahead. Hands light on the mat as you send your chest forward and up. Chest forward and shoulders back. Breathe. And slowly lower down. Tuck your toes. Press your hands into the mat. Maybe this time lift your knees up off the mat first, maybe not. Come through plank pose. Just pause here for a breath. And then lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. For me, downward facing dog becomes a resting pose after plank pose, but everybody's different. And breathe. Check in with your spine. Make sure it's nice and straight. Bend your knees if you need to. And then keeping your spine completely still, then play with straightening your legs. Pressing into the mat more with your fingertips and knuckles, taking the weight out of your wrists. Engaging your arms, your back, your legs. Breathe here for a couple more breaths. Notice any sensations. Just observe without judgment. Look past your hands, bend your knees, and gently walk or hop your feet forward to your hands. Fold forward and breathe. As you inhale, come halfway up. On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side. Make your way all the way to standing. Reach your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale your arms out to the side as you come all the way to standing. Reach your arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. Release your arms. Couple more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Nice flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold forward. We're just cooling down now. Inhale halfway up. Shoulders back. Breathe here. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, lower your arms. Release. Lift your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Palms together at your heart. And release. So we'll do some breaths of joy. It's a lovely breathing exercise. The idea is you take 3 sips of air in 3 inhales of air without exhaling. 3 short inhales through the mouth, and then you exhale through the mouth. So inhale through the nose 3 times, and then exhale through the mouth, and we add movement to it. So it looks like this. Inhale, inhale, inhale. So inhale, arms forward, out to the side, and then all the way up over your head. Bend your knees, and as you exhale through the mouth, fold forward and exhale as loudly as you want, like this. And we will begin. So take a nice deep cleansing inhale here. And exhale. And we will begin. One more time. And on the next exhale, fold and stay here. And just let your body drape towards the mat. Let go. Knees can be bent. Hands might be resting on the mat or dangling, or you can cross your arms. Let your head, your elbows melt towards the mat. And breathe. Straightening one leg and then the other. And now place your hands on the mat and walk your feet as wide as you can comfortably do so while keeping the feet flat on the mat. Feet are parallel to each other. Place your hands on the mat and now fold forward. A wide-legged forward fold. If it's most comfortable for you, you can place your hands on the mat. Has a nice grounding feel. Or if you prefer, you can cross your arms, let your elbows and head dangle. Whatever you need today. And breathe. One more breath. Begin to bend your left knee. Walk your hands over to your left foot. Press your right foot into the mat. Walk your hands back to center. And now bend your right knee, walking your hands over to your right foot. Press that left foot deeply into the mat. And breathe. Walk your hands back to center. Heel toe your feet together. Bend your knees and come to a seated position. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open wide. Start with your hands behind you. So from the side, it looks like this. Try to keep your spine straight. If your back is still really rounding, just lean your hands back a little further. until your spine is straight. And then from here, if you are able to keep your spine straight, walk your hands forward and send your chest forward. As soon as your back starts to round, that's the cue for your body just to stop right there. Imagine you can send your chest forward. If you can do so while still keeping your spine straight, bring your hands and grab your ankles or feet, sending your chest forward. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, use your elbows to push your knees away from towards the floor. Just breathe into this. We're slowing everything down. Take a moment and feel what's happening in your body. If there are any areas that are holding on to tension, breathe right into that area. And as you exhale, allow the tension to dissolve and release. Be here for a couple more breaths. And slowly come on back up. Bring your knees together. And now with your feet flat on the floor, knees bent, lean forward and reach under your thighs and you can either hug your arms together, but it might be easier just keep your hands right under your thighs by your knees. Try to keep your belly right on your thighs. Look straight ahead. And now at the beginning, keep that contact between your torso and your thighs. Walk your feet forward. Keep hugging your torso to your thighs. Your toes might start to lift, and walk your heels forward a little bit more. Breathe into this. Feel. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you walk your heels a little forward. More. Whoops. Eventually, you can release your hands, maybe straighten your legs. You might lose that contact between your torso and thighs. But keep sending your chest forward towards your feet and then flex your toes towards you. Maybe walking your hands forward towards your feet. Flex those toes, press the knees into the mat, and breathe. And slowly come on back up. Bend your knees, place the soles of your feet on the mat. Slide your hips forward towards your heels, and come on to your back. Just gently hug your knees to your chest here. If it feels right for you, rock side to side, or just stay still in the center. Whatever feels best for you. And then slowly release your knees, lower your feet to the mat. Place your arms on the mat away from you, so your arms are in a T position away from your body. Slide your hips over to the right. Let your knees roll to the left. And now turn and look towards your right hand. You're welcome to keep your eyes open here, or soften your gaze and close your eyes. Can you relax into the pose? Gently bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips over to the left And let your knees roll to the right. And now turn and look over towards your left hand. Can you let your body melt into the mat? Relax and let go. Let your breath be natural. Slowly bring your knees back to center. The next pose is Shavasana. So before we come into Shavasana, just take a couple of breaths here and move in any way your body's asking to move. Maybe that means hugging your knees into your chest, or coming into a happy baby, grabbing your feet with your knees bent. Or maybe simply stretching your arms up over your head, stretching your whole body. Just move however your body wants to move in order to settle into Shavasana. And then when you're ready, just lay on your mat. If you want a blanket or eye pillow, just use them as make you as comfortable as possible. Have your arms resting on the mat just a few inches away from your hips, palms turned up, feet wider than hip distance apart. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Inhaling, filling up your lungs, your belly, your whole body. Let the air allow the body to feel light and buoyant. And then as you exhale, release all the air. Let the weight of your body melt into the mat and let go. Come into complete stillness. If your mind wanders, come back to your breath and feel your body and mind fully still. Allow your breath to deepen. Bring awareness to your fingers. Gently move your toes. Softly move your arms and legs. Maybe hugging your knees to your chest, or reaching your arms up over your head and giving your full body a big stretch. Whenever you're ready, roll over onto your right side and come up to a seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.